The businesses that are coming from somebody rooted and grounded in themselves and in something higher than themselves, they will thrive. The other ones are going to fall away.
Welcome to the Love Your Brand podcast. If you're looking for real conversations with real people, you're the right place. Let's go!
Let's go! Welcome to the Love Your Brand show, sponsored by Talon Alexander, your marketing and creative agency. Welcome today, Miss Jenni Rae Oates. She is a Nashville-based business and peak performance coach and a mom of four, raising three this side of heaven. She runs performance acceleration events and coaching programs for entrepreneurs, business owners, and coaches to heal in the hustle, overcome limitations, and master their mindset so that their relationships can thrive while building their business and crushing their goals.
Yeah.
Welcome, Miss Jenni Rae.
Welcome. What up?
Hey.
I'm excited about this one.
Me too,
This is going to be fun.
It's like old times.
Do you remember where we met?
Ooh. No, we're going way back.
For real? Let me give you
Danny Johnson?
Yes,
Yeah.
in Florida.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We had a mutual friend. I don't know if you ever heard of Danny Johnson. And how would you describe Danny Johnson?
It's a success event.
Hey, that's his favorite word.
No, that's why I used it. It was an event for entrepreneurs. Yeah. Really, she specializes in network marketing and direct sales and showing you how to do it.
Yeah.
So
we went down. We had a mutual friend. And so we went down with him and then had met her and her husband, Nathan, down there as well. And that was the first time. That was, I don't know, 15 years ago. At least.
15.
Had to be a while back, right?
We were babies.
Right. Back in, I wish I could say 15 years ago I was in my 20s, but I wasn't.
No.
Man.
No. Close.
Not
quite.
But you mentioned like with Danny Johnson, I mean, sales, success, direct market, network marketing. And that's where, a lot of your background was, right? I mean, even
where it all began.
Yeah.
It all began at 19,
Wow.
college dorm room.
Wow.
I was a Division I soccer player and had some different health issues and was introduced to my husband, who his whole family had just come off this incredible experience of his brother had 38 tumors in the whites of his eyes.
Wow.
Nothing medically speaking would work for it. And so he got on the best natural supplements, did some treatments in Mexico, and all the tumors disappeared. And so he really understood if you feed the body the right things, it'll heal itself. And so he introduced it to me because I had all sorts of health issues and was playing at such a high capacity and caliber at that point, would pass out in the middle of practices and all sorts of crazy things. And all of that was due to an eating disorder I'd had in high school. And I'd gone from like 120 pounds down to 82 pounds in high school, but still somehow could perform at such a high level. So this is why I do high performance coaching without killing yourself, because I learned how to perform at a very, very, very high level, but kill myself every step of the way. Still got a scholarship, but I met Nathan and he's like, I think you need this stuff. So I got him some supplements. It made such a difference in my life that my teammates were literally knocking on my door like, what you got, man? I was like the supplement drug dealer, like opening it up, like, here you go. So yeah, it just totally transformed my life. And I was like, hey, I could sell this stuff and come out of college with a little bit of money. I got my first $16 check and I was hooked. I was like, man, this is awesome. Get a little side gig going and just dove into it from there. It was a hobby for a while, had 4 kids in 6 years, and it was really more of a hobby. But Nathan and I went into it together in 2009 after a couple job losses, after we lost a son. And it was just like all these tragedies back to back. Really, we were just like, what do we want with our life? And we didn't want to do 60-hour work weeks anymore. We never saw him. When our son passed away, we saw him for probably a total of 5 hours on a weekend. And so we were like, let's come home. Let's figure out a way to do business together. And that was really the only thing we knew how to do. We had no business background. We were in ministry. He was a pastor. And I'm like, well, we love people. We love health. Let's go for it. So that's what happened. Within 12 months, we had a 6-figure income and had hit the top in one of our companies. And It was kind of a whirlwind of we have no idea what we're doing. We're just doing the next right thing, and it worked.
So what did both of y'all go to school for?
Both of us were youth ministry degrees.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And my minor and area of focus is more in psychology and family sciences and the family unit. His is communication.
And when network marketing kind of was presented to you, I think network marketing is one of those things where we have our preconceived notions about network marketing. It's either we like hate it, I don't want to sell to my friends kind of a thing, or you're presented that you can make so much money, it's a nice little side hustle that can grow into a business. What was your perception of network marketing?
I think my initial perception at 19, I had zero framework for it. I didn't even know what it was.
Oh, okay.
So that was the beauty of it, was like, man, this thing worked, transformed my life. Like, why wouldn't you share it? Like, we always share what we love with people, whether it's a movie or your favorite car or, a place to eat. So that just made sense to me. I wasn't really thinking about anything other than, man, there's so many people that need help. And like, this changed my life. When it, fast forward about 9 years, when it became a real business decision, like we got to take this out of hobby mode to like a real business that can support a family of 5 at that point. How do we do this? I definitely got hit with all the fears of what are people going to think? And are they going to, just all the reasons that a lot of people don't like network marketing. I was hit with all of them. I said no to Nathan for 9 months. He suggested it to us and I was like, no way. The number one reason I said no way was I don't want to speak. Like, you're the speaker, you're on stage. I'll do anything you ask me to do. Just don't ever make me speak.
What was your fear with that?
I didn't think I was good. I hated it. I had no confidence in it at all. I was just terrified of it. And so I really saw him as like the speaker and the stage person, and just was terrified of probably rejection and failure. And, I knew what I was really good at. And I'm like, I like to play games I can win. Right. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't sure I could win that one.
So kind of control.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe a little.
Maybe a little. I can relate a little.
Just a little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I learned really quick, though, that he lied to me. He's like, I promise you're never good. Speak. Fingers crossed behind his back. Because right out of the gate, I'm like, lots of speaking, lots of conversations, lots of phone calls. And it was the best thing that I ever said yes to, because I honestly signed up for a self-development program. It was the fastest track to learning what worked with people and what didn't. And it really led to what I do now, because I got over 18 years of studying people. And wow. I'm kind of a nerd with human behavior and why people get the results they get, why two people can have the same strategy, the same teaching, the same training, yet get vastly different results, why some succeed and why some don't. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with it. And it's probably just from being a top athlete and like kind of going for the top. I didn't understand why some people's mentality was like, this is comfy. I like it down here. I'm like, come on. There's so much life to live. Like, go for it. You've got so much potential. And I just believe every single one of us has so much untapped potential. And until I take my last breath, I'm going to be discovering mine. Like, I'm never going to stop. So it was an incredible journey to just like learn that and discover that about myself.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And you, on a disc profile, are you DI? Or are you just D?
Not just D. I think DC and some I. I think I got both those.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'm an SC, so I'm like, I don't want to be up there, leading the charge kind of a thing. Put me back here. I'm comfortable. I'm kind of behind the scenes. I would rather be like your right-hand man and making your success, bringing your success than working on my own.
I need you or you're hired.
Let's go. Let's
go.
I facilitated a lot of disc profiles and assessments. And I'm just thinking about it. I've never actually taken one. Like in the past 20 years, I have no idea what I would be. To be honest with you,
I think you're high I.
High I?
Yeah, you're just like
just that face says it all.
Right
out there. I don't know, but
no, we need you.
We need you.
The speaking.
Nathan's a high I.
Okay.
Jenny identified with that so much. For 20 plus years, being in the marketing industry and branding and working with powerhouse companies and big brands, I've never been one to be in the spotlight, right? I've been quiet, kind of behind the scenes. And it got to a point where I was like, man, I think I know a little bit. I'm ready to pivot to my next phase, right? And I just had all this negative, I guess, emotions and feelings. Like, you talk with a Southern accent. You need to work.
That's my favorite part about you.
Right?
Work on
Southern drawl.
your speech delivery. Like, I'm good in like a boardroom with 10 people, but you put me in front of 30, I'm like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of awkward. And I fumble over words and I laugh. And
it's part of your brand.
Honestly, I just got to a point where I just don't give a crap. Right? Let's go. Let's be real. Let's be authentic. Because I think that's where brands thrive. And, and it was just, the enemy. And I think you deal a lot with it when you work with companies and entrepreneurs, that they come across that same thing, not only with speaking and in business, but in life in general. So I'm glad you shared that, because you're so phenomenal now. You're like speaking.
Oh,
and I'm
my gosh.
What?
Well, I mean, it took 100 million, attempts and trying and doing it and failing forward. It's like, oh, that sucked. Oh man, how can I improve and iterate and tweak that and just keep getting better?
They call that the actual mastery cycle. It's putting in reps. So, you do one, you reflect, you review, say, what can I do better?
Mm-hmm.
You do another one. Mastery cycle is never ending. It's just until you move on, right?
They say you don't master something until you take 1,000 steps.
And you still got to put in the work.
You got to put in the work. You got to just keep taking the steps, because every step's one step closer.
But I think it's always mastery. It's a direction, right? Like, set your sights somewhere, and that's where you're going. You're taking those steps to get there, but you never arrive to it. It's just like the journey destination aspect of it. You will never have arrived. And we were talking yesterday with a guest, and we were talking about some emotional stuff and trauma. And, it's like, go through counseling. All right, I'm healed from this. Then something happens and something comes up. And it's like, well, crap, I dealt with that. Why am I back here having to deal with this again? And you got to keep pressing in, doing more steps, kind of a thing. But I mean, it's funny, like what Jason's saying, affirming you as well. You mentioned earlier, like, all right, Nathan, I'm not going to speak. Promise me that I don't have to speak to people. Lack of confidence, all these things. One word, I could describe you with a lot of words, but one word would be confident. You come across very confident. And I say come across because a lot of times people, they do come across confident, but they're not confident. They're putting on a mask. They're putting on a facade to where it looks good. But truly, internally, they're like struggling with all that stuff. But number one, I know where we're going with this, but I mean, I want to affirm, I know that you're confident because I know you well. But I mean, that what you went through and where you are today and what you're leading people through, I mean, you hone in and kind of focus on those aspects, helping people kind of gain their confidence, right?
Yeah, 100%. I just don't think you can build a business. You can't build a brand without confidence. Like, no one's going to follow a non-confident leader.
True.
Right? Like, no one's signing up for the brand that's like, I'm embarrassed.
Right.
Like, I'm shy.
Please sign up.
Yeah. Nobody follows that. And so it's a real thing we have to work through as entrepreneurs and as business owners, is how do we grow our confidence? And yet confidence feels very elusive. Like, if you go study it, or I've done tons of study on confidence, and it's so fluffy what you're going to find out there. It's so full of bull crap. Like, it's just like, it's the same things that you do. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't really grow confidence. Like, that's not really how it's grown. So to your point, I think a lot of people are faking confidence. And also, there's this really interesting tension between, there is some of that necessary to grow your confidence. So we hear the phrase, fake it till you make it. And I don't believe, I like to say faith it till you make it, because I think it's more about like taking the next step of faith, which means I'm actually not confident it's all going to work out. Like, I am taking a step into something I can't yet see, knowing I've prepared, knowing I've got all this backing and I've done some of these things that can give me some confidence. But true confidence doesn't come till I take that step of faith, do the thing and iterate, like, and grow and keep doing that over and over and over. And, I adopted the whole fake it till you make it for a while and nearly killed myself because it was so fake. It was such a facade. I had the mask on all the time. I mean, it was like I was in a health business and we had a fitness company that we launched, and it felt like I had to be perfect all the time to even sell the product. So it's like, how do I even be human? Like, I feel like I can't ever eat anything bad, or I feel like I can't ever have a non-great fitness day, or like, I only have 5 abs right now. I need the 6th, like it was just always this tension of like, oh, my confidence was always in like how I was performing and how I was doing. And so I've done a lot of study and research, and my own journey has really shown me what confidence really is about and how you can really develop it.
That's good. And I think we often talk about with branding. So you have personal brand, we have brands in our business, and the best brands, like the anchor for a brand is authenticity, just being real, being authentic to yourself, being authentic to others. And, we put that fake it till we make it, acting like things are good. But it's like what I've enjoyed about you and your husband, Nathan, and y'all's transparency is that you invite people into your life and you share the good, bad, and the ugly, because there's so much we can learn from failure, and there's so much we can learn from our hardest seasons. And that kind of brings us to who we are today, how we're operating. Maybe we're operating at 50% when our potential is 100% because of all this stuff in the past. And so when y'all are so authentic and just share this stuff, the struggles y'all have gone through, what you've overcome, which has been a lot, that brings people in to where you have, I'm getting chills just sharing it because these people come in and they're so attracted to the authenticity that y'all have. And then, they're at that place to where when you walk them through the program, the coaching programs you have, y'all have your hands in a lot of things right now, they're so inclined to move forward because you're so authentic. So your brand, it truly is such an authentic brand, y'all personally. And I went through that masterclass you did a couple months ago, and dude, the value they gave. Jenni Rae ran this thing. It was 8 days. Like an hour a day, you get on this thing. You talk about a lead magnet for a business.
We've got more coming up if you want to join.
My gosh. The value, people paid like $10,000 for something like this, and what they delivered for free. Yeah. And they invited people in, it's all like on Zoom. So you have an hour learning session. There was a Facebook group you're part of. They started building this community, interacting, the vulnerability, the transparency, everything was shared to where these people is now a close-knit family that are looking to become their best and to grow their confidence, to grow all these aspects of it. And so y'all do such a good job with the way that you invite people in through sharing your story. And I don't know if you want to comment a little bit on your story, because I think where you are today is based on how you chose to press into the suck, press into the ugly, and overcome it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you're sharing that the word I think of is family, like the way that we treat our business, our anybody we work with, it's family, like clients, potential clients, it's family. And I think it's because our family's been under so much attack. There's been so much attack on our family itself that it's now become the highest value, and it infiltrates every single aspect of our business and how we run things. And, as I mentioned already, we lost a son back in 2006 in a crib. It was in a bed that was recalled 6 months later. So I found him face down in his bed. It was probably right after we met. I don't even know that season. But yeah, it was heart-wrenching. He was perfectly healthy, and you think you have the rest of your life with somebody, and in a second, like, he was gone. And so I spun out for a couple years. Nathan was trying to just make ends meet, try to keep showing up for work, felt like he was hollowing out, like having to put on the happy face at church and like everything's good. And, but it wasn't good. And we were trying to figure out how to do this thing called grief and life, and 2 kids at the same time. And then we had our 4th in the midst of that. And so, we've gone through so much. And after probably 16 years into that, we ended up with divorce papers signed, and after 18 months of separation, and in a place that I never dreamed. We were like, I'd known him since I was 19. We're best friends. Like, our brand for the longest time was Healthy Oats Incorporated. Oats is our last name. It was nathanandjenni.com. I go by Jenni Rae now, my full name. But there was so much intertwining of us, even in our brand and in our company, that when we hit this place in our relationship, it was terrifying. It wasn't just about the relationship. It was about everything's falling apart. The brand, the business, the marriage, my kids are teenagers now watching this, I'm literally losing everything. It feels like in a second because, and that's what I think kept me in this place of like us not really taking action on the relationship and the marriage to a different level because it was so intertwined in the business. Neither one of us wanted to rock that boat. Let's just keep this thing going. Like it's working. It's succeeding. We're making money. So if we're making money, it's God, right? It's blessed. And I think we just kind of bought into that lie a little bit of like money equals blessing and success versus like what's the quality of our relationships behind the scenes. And we couldn't quite put a finger on it. But I think both of us, what we do now is so much work on emotional intelligence for entrepreneurs and really being able to work through all the past wounds, all the past stories, all the lies, all the life experiences, whether you think it or not, you are bringing it into every single thing you do on a daily basis. And we're proof of it. I mean, it was coming into, it's why I was so driven. Like think about so many driven high performers who are trying to outrun the pain of their past or outrun something they can't fix at home. You know, like whenever you can't fix a relationship, what do? You turn to something you're really good at, which for me was business and crushing something, you know, like, oh, I'll go do that. I get a dopamine hit off that because I can't fix this and I can't control this. There were so many things for me that were so out of my control. I couldn't bring my son back. I couldn't save my 3 kids from pain. Like they were going to face it. And I couldn't fix my marriage. I couldn't change it no matter how hard I tried. And I got in just such a crazy cycle of trying to fix it and change it instead of just letting go, and working on me. And that's such a cliche phrase, but it's the only thing you can control. It's the only thing you can actually control in your business. It's the only thing you control in your relationships. It's you. Like that's it. And so both of us went on our own journeys of really, I would say almost discovering ourselves apart from each other, discovering ourselves apart from the businesses that were so defining who we were. It felt like a mess that we had to untangle. And that's the real story, right? It's like everyone sees the success and it's like, yes, it was successful and also costly. So costly. Wow. And the price that we paid, I'm grateful because it's like, it's the opportunity cost. You know, you pay these prices to learn. And I'm grateful for the end. We ended up getting remarried. That's not everybody's story. A lot of people go to the edge and go all the way over, right? And so it's not about what the outcome and the end of the story is. More so for us, it's about the individual in the story. It's about the individual person who needs to know they can get their power back. They can live their best life no matter what crazy they're in. And I just didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I do now. So
and I mean, we're so glad the divorce papers were ripped up and where you are today. You know, I mean, we celebrate that. And I remember as we're talking about like fake it till you make it in the facade, when I heard, you know, that what y'all were going through, you know, it's just like, whoa, you know, so often that happens. Yeah. The couple that you look at, like they've got it together. You know, they're everything, success, you know, finances, you know, family, all these things. And you hear something like the marriage ended or something like that. Y'all were one of those couples was like so shocked by like not Nathan and Jenni. And so when y'all overcame, I mean, I remember seeing the Facebook post, the video of when y'all, you know, got through it. And I was just, my heart leapt, you know, for joy for y'all. But I mean, after that, I mean, that kind of was the catalyst where most of your career was working with Nathan. Like you said, you had Healthy Oats, you had Nathan and Jenni, you all had Verse Club, you had all these things. And that
little intertwined, right?
I mean, yeah, all of it.
And it worked.
Right. But you launched your own thing. And, you know, which I mean, I know today, like I saw a post and kind of sparked the conversation with us, like 5 things you learned about yourself as you were launching your own coaching business, you know, that you know, we want to touch on today, because I mean, I think those are so powerful, and you saw the transformation of where you were, where you are today, and why like that family focus when these people are attracted to what you're putting out there.
Yeah, those, I mean, I could probably make a list of 25. So like, you know, posting about just 5 things I've learned, just stepping out and launching my own business. It was really scary. I think there is a safety net with network marketing. I'll speak to this for a second. There's a safety net because the company, the beauty of network marketing is truly, and anybody can do it because the company does the hard work of coming up with a brand,
Right.
creating the marketing, creating the product, researching the product, shipping the product. They do all this hard work, and you get to be the marketer of it, like the mouthpiece of it. So the thing that I think helped me in launching my own business was what I got early on. And I don't know how I got this. I just got it. By the grace of God, I'm so thankful that I did in my 20s. I understood the only way to stand out in a noisy market of network marketing and in a company where everybody wears the badge and the banner of the company name, whatever product you're promoting, everybody's got the same product. So how do you stand out in a noisy world? You become a brand within the brand. Mm-hmm. And so I created teams, families within every company we were a part of. We had impact partners in our first company and Elevate Oils in our second company. And there was always something bigger than the company itself that people wanted to join and be a part of. And I had to create some unity and a brand and a family. So I learned that somehow, created my own systems, created my own processes, and not just relied on the company. And I was like, okay, man, I've got so much. And there was this draw, like after going through everything Nathan and I did, it was like, I don't want to keep being just, I found so much of my identity in the we. And so much of our journey was you can never have a healthy we until there's two healthy, whole individual me's. Mm-hmm. And good. Both of us struggled so much with that. He's an identical twin. I have a sister who's 16 months older. So it was almost like growing up with a twin. So we found so much comfort and safety in the we, which there's healthiness in that. And it went so sideways with so much codependency, but that's another podcast for another day. But I'm so grateful I could see it and began to pull it apart. And one of the biggest tests of that was like, it's time. Like I'm feeling this pull to start my own company, my own brand, my own business. I had just had this dissatisfaction with promoting other people's brands. And I'm like, man, I'm really good at this. And I am making them a crap ton of money. I'm like, and like,
I do this for myself.
Why am I not doing this for myself? So it was like, in a sense, I felt like I got to this point where I realized I was working for them. It was like, I had a really awesome job that had an aspect of residual to it, but it wasn't like my own thing. And I really, really wanted that. And it was terrifying because I had to face all my own fears of, can I succeed apart from Nathan? Can I do this without him? I don't even know what I'm going to do. And I knew I wanted to coach. The common thread for me was transformation. And every company, every business, it doesn't matter the product I was selling, it always came down to one key thing was my guiding light was, so grows the person, goes the business. If you are individually growing, your business will grow. Like strategy is easy. It's 10% of it. Strategy, tactics, habits, all that's 10% of the equation. 90% of the equation is the human running the business.
Wow.
And so many of the people, and Dale Carnegie talks about this, so many people talk about like, it's more about the person behind the business. And so I was like, that's what I'm crazy interested in, is how to grow people. What's the behavioral neuroscience? Like I'm a nerd. Like I'm a total nerd when it comes to this stuff. Like how do our brains function? Why do we make the choices we make and decide the things we decide? And how do some people get better results than others? So I just dove headfirst into that and said, that's what I want to coach people on, because I could see in my own story how many times I had limited myself with my own stories. Like no one, you asked about like, why didn't you want to speak? And I think ultimately it was a belief that I had around no one sees me, no one hears me. That came from the time I was little. From the age of 0 to 7, our beliefs are set in stone, what we believe about ourselves. And that one was coming up when I'm realizing I'm having to speak. I'm going, why would anybody want to hear me? Wow. No one sees me. No one hears me. As the youngest of 4 in a family, feeling kind of pushed aside, not because anybody meant to, that's just how I internalized it. So much of those things as entrepreneurs, we don't realize we're actually making decisions every day. Our yeses and our nos, our willingness to risk and go big. We play small so much because of those belief systems. So I wanted to start a coaching business around that, like how to help people break through their own personal limitations and go to the next level with confidence. So
with everybody that you've coached, are you seeing a theme? Like, is that the main theme, that it's just like a lack of confidence that most people have within themselves? Or is it something else that's kind of correlated and rooted in there?
The confidence, I think, is the second step. So I have a method I have called the RISE method. The first step is actually connection. that's just not sexy and sellable, right? No one's going, ooh, sign me up for that. I'm so disconnected. But the truth is it's connection. We are not connected to ourself and the outflow of like true knowing yourself. How can you build a brand that is centered around you if you don't know who you are, what you want, if you don't have clarity on any of those things, if you don't have a vision for your life, the direction, like for you personally, outside of even your business, if you don't have that self-connection and connection to faith, to something bigger, everything I've done in my business has come from connection to something bigger than me. Like if it begins and ends with me, we're screwed. We're in trouble. Like I've got to have faith because it's how I take risk. It's how I step out when I know I'm not enough. He's enough. He's got me.
Yeah, amen.
So connection there, connection to God. I have a framework that's this 4-part framework with this. And then you can get connected to the right people. You can magnetize, like truly $1 million opportunities and people and connections. The reason people aren't flowing your way, the right clients, the right connections is because you don't know yourself. You don't have that connection and you don't have connection to higher faith that like step into things, bigger things, then connection to your purpose. But so many entrepreneurs try to skip all of that stuff. It's too fluffy. It's too fluffy. I don't want to do that. And they try to go straight to the business. They start to go to purpose. Let me just create this awesome thing. And without these other connections, it's not authentic. It falls flat, right? It's like, and in today's market, the businesses that are authentic, the businesses that are coming from somebody rooted and grounded in themselves and in something higher than themselves, they will thrive. The other ones are going to fall away. They won't make it.
I so identify with that. Like for, a decade, I was living that. Like everything was produced and my success was totally reliant on me, right?
Yeah.
There was nothing else driving it. It was grind, like you said, grind and be successful. And I'm going to do it because everybody said I could, right? And I'm going to show everybody. And put the whole weight of the world on my shoulders, right? My family. So everything suffered. Even though I was very successful, made a lot of money, had a lot of shiny things, right? I was not grounded. I was not connected. So I almost had a rebirth, right?
Yeah.
I went through a lot of crap, right? A lot of bad things. And that... Fortunately, I'm glad it happened because it allowed me to come back full circle, stronger than ever with my priorities straight and my connection in line. And once I had that, everything was clear. Everything was focused. Everything was balanced, right?
So good.
It wasn't about the money. Don't get me wrong, money. We need money, right? But it was way much more. I was connected to a higher purpose, a higher power, which, who I call Jesus Christ, but, someone else may have a different opinion, which is fine as well. But once that happened, it was a game changer. And it was less about wearing sports jackets and suits and having this high power office and shiny, facade. And like me and Jonathan were talking, $2,000 dinners, $1,000 dinners, hotels, flying all around. That's cool, but was I happy? On the outside I was, but it was just a shell.
Yeah.
When our identity starts coming in something else.
Absolutely.
Right? Because my background was in corporate, and that's what we were talking about a little earlier. And go down, I had a company card, had a huge marketing budget, for what I was running. And so take clients out, just drop it. And it's like, you start getting that temptation, look at me, but there was no happiness. There was no joy in anything I was doing. I had something I was going to say. Happens every episode.
It was really good.
It's fleeting thought. What was it going to be? Dang it. It was about corporate. I don't know. I'll interject in a second when it comes back.
Yeah, I just think you can't put a price tag on happiness and true joy and fulfillment. And I think I'm at a season of my life too, where it's like that was one of the reasons of stepping out into my own business and starting my own brand was like just the joy of seeing something birthed. Like, I want to birth this thing that's like from me. Like, I want to see this thing come to being. And even if it fails, I'll know that I'm going to have a lot of pride in that I tried, that I did this thing that I was like terrified to do. So you asked originally about confidence and if that's really the only thing or like, it's a huge part of it, but connection to those 4 things, but really starting with yourself.
I remembered after you're done.
Yeah, you can't get to confidence without it. So we can talk more confidence in a second because it's important, but that is a huge element of it. And it's almost like confidence is a given when you are more connected. Like even just like, thinking back to that season where you're like hustling and grinding and you're having to keep up the facade. It is terrifying. Absolutely. It's terrifying. So like you appear confident, but at any moment you feel like it's a house of cards that could fall apart or that it's all going to be taken away. And so your hustle and grind is more out of fear than out of, I'm doing out of fulfillment. I know that I'm fulfilling my purpose and calling here. And fear as a driver is a horrible driver.
So when I was in corporate, their focus for the employees, at least my experience, was very much on professional development. I had a great boss. Yeah. And he would encourage me. He's like, hey, if you find something that's going to help you professionally, go do it. I'd fly out to New York City, Manhattan, go to AMA, American Management Association, go to these business things, seminars, downtown the city, like over and over. It was always professional development, which was great. But I didn't realize till once I quit corporate and became an entrepreneur doing my own thing, it was the professional development stuff that was more beneficial for me, which I'm correlating with like what you're sharing, that all those pieces that were missing, I didn't need the professional development to become better at marketing or business and all that understanding. It was this stuff personally that was going on within me. And when I became an entrepreneur, those are the resources that I started going to. Coaching and counseling and things to where get to these core roots of my belief system was off. My identity was off. My confidence was off. Where was that stemming from? How is that showing up in my marriage? How's that showing up as a parent? How's that showing up in business? And so now it's like I see the greatest results when I've pressed into the personal development aspect of it. And while you do business, is what you're doing, it's a personal development resource that is the foundation of getting people here, what you're talking about with Rise and the connected to where you can't get here yet. We're going to get there, but we got to fix this first. And that was a transition for me from corporate to doing my own thing. That was a big revelation. Like, this is where I need to put the focus. And when I started seeing change, I'll spend any amount of money to go into that if it's gonna fix these things that I need to work on.
Yeah, because you have to think about what are you gonna lose if you don't.
Yeah, right.
As an entrepreneur, like that's why I love working with entrepreneurs and business owners and coaches, because they understand it's not just an investment in myself. It's if I don't invest in myself, how much do I lose? How much money am I leaving on the table year after year because I didn't bust through that belief system that keeps me stuck? And every year, is it costing me $100K? Is it costing 200, $1 million? Like over a lifetime, what's it costing you to not invest now and break through that? What's it costing your marriage, your relationships? What's it costing your sanity, your happiness? Like there's so much price you're paying by not investing personally. So whenever somebody does invest, I'm like, yes, it's going to transform every area of their life. And the thing that's so exciting to me is when I see a business owner transform their entire way of thinking, I know they've just sowed a seed into the next generation because I see it in my own kids. Like as I've transformed and I've gone after my stuff, my kids are like light years ahead of me. I learn from my kids every single day. I am inspired by my kids every single day. Their children will never be the same. Had I not made that investment in myself, gone through the hard crap and invested to get through it, to not let it take me out, to let it take me higher. Like, how do you do that? Like, you've got to keep investing in yourself, knowing it's actually helping everybody that's coming behind you.
Yes.
That is an ROI that's like, you cannot even put money on it. What if businesses are started because of the beliefs that I broke through? What if, literally the businesses, the families, it's literally exponential. You can't even put a number.
And those are the foundations that brands are built on. And we always talk about it, the difference between branding and marketing, right? That creates your foundation for brand. Brand is longevity. Yeah. It's what you're building in the future.
It's your legacy, really.
Your legacy. Like, hey.
Like Lance was saying.
It's your legacy. And until you break that cycle, you're always in marketing. what can I do? What can I do for this quarter? What can I do to get these leads in? What can I do to generate this revenue? That's marketing, right? Branding is longevity. It's what they say about you when you're not in the room, right?
That's it.
And that is when you make that shift and realize that it's an investment that is gonna touch every KPI in your organization. Now, it's hard to sometimes validate because you're investing all this time and money and effort, and you tend to only focus on the marketing numbers because those are the ones that are easily tracked.
Move the needle.
So if you're investing, say, 20 grand a month, right, in a company, and half of that is brand focused, you're looking and saying 20 grand, I've got to make that back, right? In some form or fashion. I've got to triple that, quadruple that. But you don't take into consideration that 50% of that is brand equity, that you're going to continue to reap the benefits year over year. And it's like compounding interest, right? And until it's hard for people to get that, right? To invest that time and that energy and that money to not have that instant gratification. Right.
Yeah, that makes me think of like one of the points that I wanted to share was with these 5 things that you have to do, or that I've learned from starting my own coaching business that have really grown my confidence, is that making those investments, like you don't need another business strategy. You need a you strategy.
Yeah.
Like that is a huge piece of where the investment, putting that money into yourself, because you are your brand.
Yes.
You are your brand, you're your business, you're your marriage, you're your parenting. Like you are the common denominator in all of these areas of your life. And so if you invest there, right? If you invest there, it's like the dividends are huge. And so many entrepreneurs that I've met that are pulling their hair out, they're chasing the dollar, they're trying to like spend the 20K. I got to get the 20K back. What's the business strategy? What's the thing I need? I'm like, you don't need another business strategy. You need a you strategy to be able to help you break through whatever it is that is not bringing those clients to you right now, because you are the one attracting them or repelling them.
That's really
it's
good,
not
Jenni Rae.
just the strategy you're employing, because 2 people, if it was just strategy, I have done so many over the years, worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and taught the same strategy from stages to thousands of people. They go out to employ the same strategy in their business, marketing, sales strategy, whatever it is, you name it. And 2 different people will have 2 very, very different results. And why is that? It's the same strategy.
Yeah.
So if it just came down to investing in a business strategy, then you would think it would work for everybody the same way, but it doesn't. It's because it comes down to the person executing the strategy. What is their limitation? What is holding them back? What's the lid that they keep hitting every time they go out? So if you want to clarify your brand, it's invest in yourself and get clear there. Because there is no magic marketing that will make up for a messy brand. It just won't. There's nothing magical you're going to do. It's really scarcity mindset. You're going to be chasing leads, chasing dollars, just trying to backfill to make some money because you need it.
So how do you get people to understand that they're the problem? You know, because I think so often we don't want to admit that.
Yeah.
You know, we just want to go.
A lot of pride and ego.
There's pride and ego. We want to pass by that. Yeah, we can deal with that, Jenni Rae. Just give me that strategy, that action item of I'm just going to do the checklist of boom, boom, boom when I need to sit here. So how do you help them realize, crap, I am the bottleneck in my own system. Crap, I am the problem. Crap, I need work.
Well, if all of us got honest and said, what's not working? How's that working for you? To be like, well, that's not me. It's just, how's it working for you? How is your marriage? What's your happiness level? How's your health? What are your habits like? Do you have any sort of fitness habits at all? Like all these areas, they're literally just mirrors back to you of what's going on inside of you. They're just mirrors. So it's like, how's it working in every domain of your life? We have this thing called the 8 domains of stewardship. And we look at 8 different areas of your life to see how you're stewarding it, because it's just reflecting back to you what's going on here. And if you're getting results you don't like in any one area, guess who's not just the problem? You're the solution. Like if you created that mess, you can create something amazing out of it. So why wouldn't you want to level up? If I can create that, I can uncreate it. I can create something totally different if I level up. I'm just stuck in what we call 1.0. Like 1.0 version of me got me here. But if this isn't working and I want to go to another level, I got to upgrade.
That's a brand slogan right there. Did you know you're the problem and the solution? I mean, seriously, I hear that. It's like, makes me think.
I'm getting a lot of
really good.
Faith it till you make it. Like,
I got a lot of I know. Hey, that's I think it's my next book. So
That's a t-shirt right
it's a
there.
t-shirt. It's a book. I got it.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I got to re-listen to this. Jenni Rae is dropping some bombs.
I'm keeping them too. I love it. It's
Yeah.
good
So point number one, you don't need another business strategy. You need a you strategy. And part of that can be in this process of discovering your brand. You can discover you. I think so much of branding is about really that self-discovery process of what you want, what you need, what you like, what you value, like all those things together. And what do you want to bring to the world? So yeah, what you guys do is important.
Wow. So who are some brands that you follow, personal brands or business brands that really impact you?
Ooh.
I'm put you on the spot there.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that one. Personal brands that I follow. Gosh, there's so many. That's what's cool. There's so many people you follow and they are their brand. I mean, I'm going to throw out, there's a whole genre, right? It's like for what? Business or for personal stuff?
Like kind of what I'm thinking is like if, let's say you said like John Maxwell, right? And then I'm curious, what is it about these brands that you connect with?
Mm-hmm. So there's 3 gentlemen that I follow that are like key. I think of them more like mentors in my life. And this started in my 20s. Whenever I didn't have money for any sort of personal development at all, like not even $3 to go to a used bookstore. So I would save up. I'd go to a used bookstore finally, get a book, and that would be like my coffee date. And I'd pretend it was like a counseling appointment or a coaching appointment. I started this
awesome.
really early in my 20s. And the first person that mentored me was Dr. Henry Cloud.
Yeah.
And the second person was
Boundaries.
John Maxwell. Yes.
Okay.
I have every single one of Cloud's books. He has mentored me since I was probably 23 years old. I'm 43. So for 20 years, this man's mentored me. I've never met him. I will. Where are you, Dr. Cloud? If you're listening, if you're listening, come forward. I want to meet this man before I die because I want to tell him thank you for everything that he's poured into me through probably 30 books and a million other things that I've studied from him. So him, Maxwell, Mark Driscoll.
Yeah.
So 3 people that are just unafraid. I think what I love about each one of them is they're clear on their message. They're very focused. So I can look at them and be like leadership. Mark Driscoll is like a voice crying out in the wilderness. You know, he is just so bold.
Yeah.
I think of him, I think of boldness. So it's like these one words that I can say. And like for me, Dr. Cloud's been fatherly. Like he has fathered me through his books. Like I've learned how to think and be a daughter and like show up in relationships and family dynamics and team dynamics and grow companies. And I'm like, he's the coolest mix of psychologist and business. And I'm like, oh, that's what I want to be. Like he showed me who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be this boss woman business owner who had this psychology piece and spirituality piece. And he just blended them so perfectly. I'd never seen it. I'd only ever seen like the church, the spirituality and that, or swing over here and it's like all business. Like you're talking about just hustle, grind, business owner. I'm like, how do you marry these loves, these passions of mine? And I found it in him. So
that's amazing. Yeah. And the reason I asked you that ahead of time so you could prep for is because you would have prepped for that answer.
Yeah.
And with branding, you know, it's all about emotions. And as we talk about, it's what somebody says about you when you're not in the room. So people, if you had clients or people that were leads or anything, I say, hey, I mentioned Jenni Rae Oates. They're going to say things about you, just like you just did with these 3 men that you listed off. And to where so you have Dr. Henry Cloud. I'm sure there's other authors out there and people that share similar stuff of how he helps people. Mark Driscoll, John Maxwell, but there were things about them that connected to you. The way that you learned from them, the way that, I mean, you mentioned father, you know, with Dr. Henry Cloud, which is powerful verbiage to use with somebody that's leadership.
Never even met.
That you've never met. But that shows how well he's done with his brand or what his brand is that connects and brings you in. And it's the same with what you have to offer your community and people that come alongside of you that, you know, with a brand, I think it's better to be different than to be better. You know, it's like if we have a product or a service, it's not about being the best. We should try to be our best, but it's about being different. So the way that you communicate, the way that you focus on, hey, we're creating a family, inviting you in. Those are the elements to where people say, all right, I could maybe get what Jenni Rae has to offer over here and maybe it's cheaper, but the way that she shows up, who she is with her brand, that's what I'm interested in. So that was kind of why I just wanted to ask who the people that jump out at you, because it's the same way with people that are joining your program and becoming coaching clients. Do you offer one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching?
Yeah, I have 2 tracks for group and then I do one-on-one, but 2 tracks for group. I do something called Rise and then I also have something called Reinvent. So Rise is a combination. I either have a 3-day live experience where people come into that 3 days and it is a powerful breakthrough on belief barriers, like bust through your own lid. So it's really geared more towards entrepreneurs, coaches, and business owners. But we've had executives, employees come in who kind of function at high performing levels that are just like, something's holding me back and I don't know what it is. And I'm ready to go to my next level personally. How do I do it? We compress literally in 3 days what takes most people 3 years to do. We've had people come in that have masters in counseling, that are just high powered executives that are just like, man, it would take me years to do this. And then I have a year-long mentorship with the Rise track as well. That's a group program for those that really want to level up to what we call a 2.0 CEO. And the CEO is just somebody who is really the chief executive officer of their own life. Like they are owning their life, they're owning their relationships, their business, all the aspects of their life. We're big on grow your business, build your brand, do the thing that you've been put here to do, but not at the cost of yourself or your relationships. Because too many people behind the scenes, they're blowing up their life, they're blowing up their relationships in the name of success. And we're like helping people get off the sacrificial altar of success. And also, how do you build success, right? So that's what we do. We help you rise to a whole new level where you're converting at higher levels with more grace, with more ease, with more flow than you've ever done in your whole life. Most people probably don't even think it's possible. But I can tell you after 4 businesses, this is my 4th, all of them have been successful. This has been my favorite. I've been the most fulfilled and the most grace, the most flow that I've ever been in, and still crushing it, still doing the thing and not without problems. So it's like, we're not going to be fluffy and fake. It's like the real stuff. We show up every single week to coach about the real stuff. And so my coaching programs really center in on real talk, like the real hard stuff that no one in the entrepreneurial space is willing to talk about. Like I tried that launch and it was a total flop, but I can't let anybody know it was a flop. I did that thing and I invested all this money in marketing and it failed and I'm struggling to forgive myself because I really wagered a lot of my family's time, money on this. And what do? My marriage is struggling. What do? Like, how do I hustle and yet heal in the hustle? And so that's what we look at is like, how do you heal in the hustle? Business owners today, we don't have the luxury in this market of checking out of our business. We don't have the luxury of not showing up for it. We still have to show up for it, yet we're getting so burnt out with the hustle grind mode. So many people go from total maxed out to checked out. And then they're literally like leaving their business for 6 months at a time. They're hoping their team's running it or they're just checking out of it. They're not growing it. And then they're like, why is my business not working? Why do I not have any leads? My leads have dried up. Well, you've been absent for about 6 months, but they don't know what else to do. They're like, I've got to go do triage on my soul or on my relationships just to like, it's like defibrillator that we're putting the paddles on, like resuscitating something over here that died in the process of being maxed out. So we help you not do the swing between maxed out and checked out. We show you a different way. So the reinvent track for us is really zeroed in on reinventing how you do relationships. How you show up in relationships impacts every single thing about your business, whether you think so or not. Every problem is a relationship problem. And it all comes down to it. There's just nothing that we're doing. If you're not attracting the clients that you want, what are you putting out to the world? Like if every problem you're facing is it's how you relate.
And I can imagine that, when you're speaking that, maybe they want to check out for 6 months, but they've got to be connected so they can attract the right people in their lives that are aligned with their mission and vision. So that they can say they want to check out and help their wife with their business. Or I'm using my own personal.
Is this personal right now?
Yeah, this is personal, baby. I tried, but I had to come back
because you had to come back.
We needed sales support.
Yeah. I got you. We all do it. We all like, what would happen if I disappear?
So I get it, but that may be a goal. They may, want to start something else, other passion projects, but you cannot be so saturated in your organization. You've got to be able to step out for a while and have good people, quality people. So I can see that attraction as well. Working with your team, you've got to have a strong team, right?
100%.
But it's like drawing in clients, but as well drawing in great people. Like, we drew in Sam. I tried to talk him out of it. He talked me into it.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
Right.
Well, I would say checked out is different than like exiting.
Yes.
Like I want to do a smart, wise exit in a business or take 6 months off or sabbatical. The way I've built and structured my business now, I'm structuring towards having an entire month off. That's not me checking out. That is a wise exit or a break or a sabbatical.
There's intentionality.
There's intentionality and there's a lot of prep and there's a lot of pre-stuff that's happening to make that happen. So checking out, the way I mean it is you're so maxed out that you swing over to checked out, which is like numbing out. It's Netflix, it's scrolling, it's total avoidance, it's procrastination, it's delaying, it's addictions. Yeah. It could be, porn, it could be an affair, it could be, you name it. Whenever a business owner gets so maxed out that they don't know what to do, they will check out. They will go to these other vices to offload how stressed they feel and how overwhelmed they feel. When in reality, if you learn how to move through all that, we call it the inner game, like move through the inner game and what's going on. That's why I say you don't need a business strategy. You need a use strategy because that is killing more businesses than not having the right strategy. That's killing more businesses than anything, is not knowing what to do with all this stuff when the pressure builds and the challenges rise. What do I do with all this stuff?
How do you handle it?
They're swinging over here to checked out and they're making choices that have far greater impact on their life, on their soul, on their relationships. And then they don't know how to fix that. So what do? They swing back over here to max out because they know how to do that. They know how to pick it up and start running again and start hustling again. And you just create this dynamic that
vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Going back
and it's Groundhog Day. And you're like, is this really life?
Right.
It's the life you've created. It doesn't have to be life.
Yeah.
Well, that's so good. I'm thinking how on point your brand is. Like as we check out your website, your website's
absolutely
so good, and not just from visually how it looks and your brand colors. Like, I mean, you're wearing your brand today and you match our brand, which is amazing.
Yes.
She got the memo.
Love it.
That's my daughter's favorite color.
Yes,
I mean, it's Nevaeh's as well. And
it's perfect.
But
tell them they'll get shoes when they're big girls.
Yeah.
But I mean, even those aspects, like, I mean, think of people in personal brand like Larry King, the suspenders and the glasses, like there's brands, and that we remember. And so you're consistent with your brand, your website, your collateral, everything is consistent with your brand. As you're just sharing all that, I'm remembering that your slogan about you need a you strategy, not another. You
don't need another business strategy. You need a you strategy.
Exactly. So everything you're sharing, like you're identifying the problem, and I'm just over here thinking what you already shared is like, yeah, I need a you strategy. Like your brand is so on point, and so I just want to compliment you on that. You're impacting lives. You're changing lives, and I mean, you can tell you've done the work. And you're continuing to do the work, and you don't position yourself. I know how much work y'all have done. And you don't position yourself and come across in a way to where you're up here. That's what I think is so beautiful about your brand is that when you meet somebody, though you've done so much, you're eye level with them, and that's what we want. Because I think so often people, they look at these top brands or personal brands and that they're up on a pedestal, they're up on a platform. And it's like, well, they're up there. I'm down here kind of a thing. But Jenni Rae comes in and it's like, we're here together. And, it's so inviting. It's such a safe place. It's filled with that trust.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy for somebody to move forward once that trust is established and built. And I just think you do a good job with your brand of creating a safe place.
That's awesome to hear. That's the goal. I just think I get sad when people are like, man, you just seem like you have it all together and you're so confident. You got all this. And I'm like, well, I hope to get towards having it together. But I just know how many tears I've cried behind the scenes and how not together I felt and how not confident I felt. And yet I showed up and did the thing. I showed up and did the thing, afraid, crying, an hour before wanting somebody to rescue me from the thing that I said yes to, or the commitment I made, or the promise I made. And it's like, just keep showing up and see how it goes and then iterate it. Not having this, this was another one of our 5 points. They're all over the board right now, which that success isn't linear. Like, it's not just a straight line, and we all want it to be, or we see people online who seem confident, who seem clear, who seem like they have it all together. And we assume that they went from, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm starting a business, to I'm clear. I'm so clear on my business. My brand is here. And if people even saw, it would be so fun to do a scrapbook on this, of the amount of iterations of my brand, the name, the logo, the colors, the title, like all of it over literally, we're talking like a 3.5 year period. So either like I'm like, do I have bipolar, like something going on? And it's like, no, every step actually gave me more clarity. Everything I said yes to, every product I put out, it was like, that was good. I didn't shame myself and say it wasn't good enough. It was just, that was good. And it gave me more clarity of what I really want to do. Right. So let's do a quick iteration and keep going. Not so much that we're always changing and ping ponging and slowing ourselves down, because people do that as well, right? They're constantly trying to improve and make it better, when it's like, get it out there. It's like, get it out there, even messy, not perfect. Just like do the thing. Just do it. Stop holding yourself back. Like, if you saw it, it's so different. I've got all these bright colors now. My brand 3.5 years ago was like this really muted, pale thing, because I saw it on Boss Babe. And I thought, whoa, Boss Babe's got it going on. Like, I mean, she's a huge brand that I follow, right? And she's got this pale, muted thing, and then black and white. I'm like, okay, I'll do a version of that. Like, it's kind of still like an artist, right? So I didn't do the same color, but something like that. And I was like, something about this is off. I ran the program that I had multiple times, and it was through doing that, through trying to be somebody else, and trying that on, putting that coat on, being like, ooh, it doesn't fit. It's a little tight. It's like, it's not fitting me right. Like, that's my 5th point, is do you. Just do you. Like, that, trying that on told me I don't like it. And I was smart enough to be like, get that jacket off and put the right one on. And I came out of the gate with this total opposite. I mean, we're talking the lightest blush pink possible. It almost looks like brown too. A neon pink. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I didn't grow up like a pink girl. Like, I'm a athlete through and through. All of my best friends growing up were boys. Whenever we got married, I was terrified, because I was like, can I have groomsmen too? Like, I don't even know if I have enough girlfriends to stand on this side. Like, they're all dudes. Like, can I do that? I mean, and I'm like, oh, is that legal? Like, is that okay? But I was like, always just like,
it is 2024.
It is. My kids call it a bro girl. Like, I was the BRUH girl, you know, like out there just rough and tumble with the boys all the time. So like, pink was the furthest thing from my color palette at all. It was never in it. And that's why I picked it. Because I was like, this is me embracing like this feminine part of me that like, I think I despised for so long, thinking I needed to be this other version. But I'm like, this is me. And I was like, I'll do a soft version, like Boss Babe. And I'm like, that's not it either. Like, I'm bold and I'm sassy and I'm loud, and like, okay, we're picking this. And like, by doing that, my whole point of saying it was, I didn't have the confidence until I did it, until I made the next choice. So everybody thinks that they're going to be confident and then do something. Confidence grows as you keep making the choice, the next choice. Make the next choice and the next choice and iterate it. And then it just keeps growing.
You know, it's stagnation by information, right? And that's what we're in. It's constantly are consuming new information
overload.
So much,
you know, and I don't even know if that was a word, but I use it anyway. I like that.
I like it.
And it rhymed.
Trademark click.
Right. TM.
But, you know, I've got to get certified in this. I've got to know this. I've got to do this. 4 years later, SpongeBob. You know, you never made a step, right? You never, you know, faced it until you made it. Yeah. So it's like you, at some point, you've got to take that step of faith and start moving.
And just know you won't feel confident taking the step.
Exactly.
You just won't. Stop waiting on the feeling of confidence. Know the confidence is coming as you take the step. And the more clear you get with each step, you actually do get more confident.
Right. I think what you're sharing about the brand and your colors, and, you know, where you went with Boss Babe and more muted and neutral, and like, it's not me. You know, you got to be true to you. And I had struggled with the same thing. And it wasn't as much about my brand personally with colors and that kind of thing. But I mean, it's about what I'm going to put out there. And really the fear of somebody else's criticism of my voice. And I think that cripples us so much as well. It goes into everything you're sharing about the confidence kind of a thing. If I know, all right, this is what I'm called to do. This is the message that I have. This is my brand. Don't focus on the haters. Don't focus on the criticism and what's going to come my way. It's going to come my way regardless, because I grew up, I'm a recovering people pleaser, right? And to where I always wanted to say the right thing, because I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be accepted. I had to work through those things. And I mean, if you launch a business, you gotta have thick skin, and just, if you're called to do something. And I think I always felt sales was slimy. I could not stand sales. And somebody challenged me on it one time, and she's like, why? And, because it felt like sales, I had this negative thing with it, to where trying to sell somebody is a bad thing. Selling is just giving a solution to a problem that somebody has. And if we'll equate Jenni Rae, she knows what she has to offer that's going to get people over what they're struggling with. So it's going to take their business to the next level. She would do a disservice if she did not offer what she has to help other people. And so it's not sales. And that changed my perspective, because I know that I'm really good with people when I start talking with people, and I'm not trying to sell them. And once that confidence happened within me to where, hey, I know ways that I can help you. This is the block you have. This is where you want to go. This is how you get there. This is my rate. This is what it's going to cost. Boom, boom, boom. When I walked in with that confidence, I had people sign up like that versus the time when I didn't have that confidence, and I would come in, hey, you want to get there? I think we can do this. This is my rate. Now I charge a lower rate, and then they wouldn't move forward because they saw my lack of confidence, and they want that confidence kind of a thing. And so now, like, I love sales because I'm not approaching it from trying to sell you. I just see you have a problem. This is the wall you're hitting, and this is how we're going to get past it.
Yeah, that's so good. So good.
Yeah.
Oh, so many conversations all wrapped up in this one, right?
I know.
We can talk about high ticket versus low ticket.
Right.
So
we'll
much
have to have you on again.
Let's do it again.
You covered all 5, right?
Yeah, I think.
If not, if you could just list, if you have those.
Success isn't linear. It's not a straight line.
Okay.
Just accept it right now. Like, it's going to be up, down, backwards, all over the place. And that's just par for the course. It's part of the journey. And I know we can hear it and still not apply it and do it. So success is not linear. You don't need a business strategy. You need to use strategy, really doing the work inside on all the things holding you back, whether it's emotional intelligence, belief systems, your thoughts. They're determining your behavior, your choices,
100%.
and how you're showing up in your business. Heal in the hustle. Don't wait till the hustle decides for you that it's time to do some healing. So find a way to, while you're hustling, because your business needs you, you've got to show up, but you can transform how you hustle. It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to white knuckle, kill you, grind it out, burn the candle at both ends, no margin, no capacity. It doesn't have to look like that.
It could be filled with laughter.
Hustle well placed. I mean, seriously, would we ever watch a football? Are you guys football guys?
Oh, yeah.
Basketball?
Yeah.
Basketball.
Both.
One team. You have one team.
But
I already know this about you. Yeah.
Right.
So if we ever watched a game and they weren't hustling, what would you do?
You wouldn't watch.
You wouldn't watch. You'd be like, losers, come on,
Right.
hustle, come on.
My time's valuable. I'm not going to watch this
exactly.
nonsense.
So hustle well placed is right. We're in a culture right now. The hustle culture is like, get out of hustle, go to be. And I'm like, how's that working for your business? What are you making? Nothing. Like, how many more coffee pictures can you post on Instagram? How many more things with your feet up on the beach? Like, it's going to run out 3 days out, and you're going to be like, I got to get back to hustle. So you got to learn how to do hustle different. You got to heal in the hustle so that life doesn't decide for you with divorce papers that, should have probably looked at this 16 years ago. Should have probably done a little bit of soul care, self-care, relationship work while I was working my business. So that was number 3. Resilience is your superpower. We didn't cover that, but I think it's been through this whole conversation.
Yeah, it speaks for itself.
It speaks for itself. You've got to be resilient. You've got to be tough. I mean, your business is developing in you a character that can never be taken from you. And that's what I love about business. And it's the people who aren't resilient, the people who are like, oh, that was really hard. Oh, I'm done. I'm out, checked out. I'm like, no, stay in it.
Yeah.
You're building character that can never be taken from you, and you can go replicate it in something else at some point.
For resilience, your superpower. For me, it's like when I think of my daughter, when I think of my family, my wife and kids, that is my, fuel that helps me to be resilient.
Yeah.
When I want to quit, when I want to hit it,
Yes.
I look at them, and that's my fuel to press in.
Yeah. It's what matters most to you and that keeps you resilient. And then last but not least is just stay true to yourself. Do you well, do you louder than everybody else. It doesn't matter if they're doing a similar thing. That's amazing because that means money's flowing in that market. So just do it louder, do it better, do it bigger than they're doing it. And
that's so good.
You're going to succeed. Yeah.
That's so good. Jenni Rae, this has been awesome. I love having people on that we know, because it's like, I know Jenni Rae and her story, this and that, and then everything she shares, like, holy cow, like, what? I can't even, my mind's blown. It's like that emoji with the mind blown, because this is such, tangible stuff, for us to focus on. And you have, as we close out, you have a resource that, like, the Crazy Cycle Blueprint. Is that right?
Yeah. I've got
Drive
a free
people
resource.
there. Where can they go? What's that
so
all
if you
about?
go to thecrazycycleblueprint.com, you can grab a free gift that I have for you. It tells a little bit more of my story and our story and just how I learned how to reinvent my relationship to hustle, how to do hustle different and get out of what we call the crazy cycle. And so many entrepreneurs and business owners are in the crazy cycle. And so it speaks for itself. You feel crazy. You're trying to control everything. Yeah. And when you can't control it, it feels like it's falling apart. So I show you the 4 actual steps that you're in. This shows up mostly in our relationships. So in a relationship where there's like a repeating pattern, repeating argument, you keep getting stuck, you're hitting the same thing, you keep hiring the same type person and you're like, why do I always get this? You're in the crazy cycle. So I'm going to peel back the layers of it, show you the 4 steps that you're stuck in and show you how to transform that.
And guys, go get it. Don't act like you don't know you're crazy. So,
you're crazy.
You got to break through.
You're crazy.
I'm crazy. I had my PhD in crazy. So that's why I was like, what can I call this? I'm like, well, I said I felt crazy for years doing
We're all
this.
a little crazy.
Yeah.
Right? We're all a little crazy.
Well, like I said earlier, I was on the 8-day masterclass with Jenni Rae and just, drinking from a fire hydrant. So much value there. So I know what Jenni Rae, what she promises, she over delivers massively. So go get that. The Crazy Cycle Blueprint.
TheCrazyCycleBlueprint.com.
Yep. Crazy Cycle
Or find JenniRae.com. You can also find it.
RAE. JenniRae.com. Go check it out.
Jenni Rae.
Jenni Rae, Southern.
Rae.
Born and raised in Tennessee. Gotta own it.
Hey, we didn't have too many giggles this episode.
Born and raised in Tennessee?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I wish I had my accent. I actually love your accent.
Oh, well,
you have no
Jenni
Southern.
Rae.
No, I had an
mine went
English
away.
teacher that told me I had to get rid of it or I wouldn't get a job.
Wow.
And so I worked so hard on it. I love your accent though, and it's not true. What she said is not true.
Thank you so much. And
I used to sound like that. It went away in college.
You do have a little drawl.
It comes out every now and then.
it's when we get
My wife likes it.
to
It's
chatting, sometimes his drawl comes out a little more when we have that,
It's endearing.
dialogue.
If I hung out with him every day, it's starting to come back a little bit more. So I need to reduce the amount of time.
You need to watch who you hang
That's
out
right.
with.
You
and
become like the 5 people he closest to.
That's exactly
and
right.
just seeing a butterfly constantly when you're going over this, I see it in the window, it's stopping
that's
by.
awesome.
I look at it, you go get this, and it's almost like a rebirth, like a butterfly will come out of a cocoon, right? And that's how I felt when I went through that healing process. So
There you go.
Yeah,
go
love
do
that.
it. Be a butterfly. Spread
That's
your
right.
wings.
Butterfly.
Hey, that's
Spread your wings and
our
fly.
thing. It's called Rise. So
That's
rise to your
Look at that.
next level. It is a
Forgot
total
about it, but it
rebirth.
goes with it. Total rebirth.
That's awesome. Jenni Rae, thank you so
man.
much. This
It
was so
awesome.
fun.
It was good bra time, right?
Rough time.
Thank you.
I loved it.
Bruh girl.
That's
My
right.
bruh girl.
Thank you guys for joining us. Until the next episode.
All right. See you later.
Thanks for listening and joining us on the Love Your Brand podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode and remember, share the love.